Let's talk about DeepSeek now. This is the Chinese app that caused Nvidia, one of the world's biggest companies, to lose $1 trillion of its market value just yesterday. Since then, there's been a lot of focus on DeepSeek and what it does. Well, essentially, it's the Chinese version of ChatGPT, and there has been concerns around censorship on the app and certainly the potential for propaganda. Joining me live now is the Communications Minister Michelle Rowland. Michelle, great to see you. Happy New Year. How concerned are you about DeepSeek?
We'll always take our advice, Laura, from our security agencies. Our intelligence experts are the best in the world, but I think it underscores a couple of things. Firstly, that innovation is coming from all parts of the world and it's challenging existing and emerging business models, just as you described. But equally, there's no reason why Australia can't make the most of this innovation. And secondly, AI is transformational. The way in which it currently is and will be used by business will be a key driving force, not only for business, but for consumers going forward. And that underscores why it's so important when we talk about the upload and the usage of this type of technology, that Australia needs the best infrastructure, but we also need a very sound, safe and responsible AI policy, which is what we are developing.
Are there security concerns here?
Well, we'll take advice from agencies on that. I can note that the storage of data, for example, is an area of concern that's been raised, but certainly we'll continue to monitor this, and I'm sure that like-minded countries will do the same.
I mean, you can't have TikTok on your phone, which is an app owned by the Chinese company ByteDance. You would have seen what has happened in the United States. They've basically been given a reprieve by Donald Trump, and apparently Microsoft is interested in buying the app. If that is the case, Michelle, would Australia review some of the restrictions it has for ministers like you on TikTok?
Well, again, we operate according to the advice that we're given. You're absolutely right in terms of government-provided devices. There are rules around that, and that's prudent to take that advice. And of course, everyone should do that. But equally, this is a fast-evolving space. We'll continue to monitor it. But again, I think this points to the way in which AI is really challenging the way in which current and emerging business models and approaches to security are being carried out at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary as well. And Australia and you as the Communications Minister has really led the way in cracking down on tech giants, having age limits on Instagram, for example, with Donald Trump and, you know, Elon Musk essentially in the White House. Does this make it harder for you to pursue those tech giants?
Well, firstly, I won't provide a running commentary, Laura, and neither will the government, on US domestic policy. But we've also made it very clear that the laws of Australia are there to be complied with by all companies operating in Australia. We take these steps for the protection and the betterment of our citizens. And just in terms of AI, even last year, we outlawed the dissemination of non-consensual deepfakes, for example, and that's important for Australian citizens. So we'll keep acting in Australian interests. Obviously, the implementation of the age limits on social media is one that will occupy a lot of this year and is well underway at the moment. But we'll always act in the interests of Australians.
Not so much commentary, but are you concerned about a backlash? Donald Trump, you know, could impose bigger taxes on, for example, Australians living in the United States.
Well, I know, for example, that Australian businesses operating in the United States are very aware of this, but the United States remains such an important and close ally. That won't change. The administration of the day is one that Australia takes as it comes. But we will continue to work with such an important ally. I know that so much of our shared democracy really does go down to the importance of making sure that technology works to protect citizens and keep them from harms. That's precisely what we're pursuing in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, America and what happens in America does affect Australia culturally, in a business sense, in many other ways as well. We just have to look at tariffs. I think, we run a trade deficit with the United States, so we're pretty safe in that space, and certainly not on the immediate hit list of Donald Trump. But when he does things like, for example, an executive order to only recognise 2 genders, that does have a flow-on effect here in Australia. Is that something that you approve of? And if it's not 2 genders, what other genders would you add?
Well, again, Laura, I'm not going to provide a running commentary on their domestic policies. I think what's more important here for Australians is knowing that such an important ally in a trade sense as well as a security sense is one that will continue under the Albanese government. Every minister is focused on this, from Minister Farrell in trade to Minister Wong in foreign affairs. So we'll continue to be focused as a government on doing our jobs. And of course, the United States remains such an important ally, trading partner, and our shared democratic values will always be strong.
Okay, let me ask you about free NBN. I don't think many people know about this, so who can get it?
Well, Laura, we recognise coming into government some 3 years or so ago that we got a lot of lessons from the lockdowns and the pandemic, and one of them was a very clear correlation between school children who were able to participate with remote learning and those who didn't. So we decided to try on scale how we could actually, for whatever reason people weren't connected at home, to get them connected. So this is for the benefit of school students. It's been running now for about 2 years, and I know parents are preparing for back to school. If a child is living at home, that household doesn't have the NBN, they can obtain it for free. And what we've announced today is an extra investment of nearly $5 million to extend that from this year out to 2028. And Laura, some 23,000 families right around Australia currently enjoy this program, and we've opened that up to 7,000 more, and for all of those 30,000 they'll be extended to 2028.
Okay.
This is a really important equity measure, especially for children, and people's circumstances change for whatever reason. We want to make sure that kids aren't left behind because we know how important it is to be connected.
Okay, so how many people are eligible for this that haven't taken it up, do you think? Do you have an estimation? And how much is it costing taxpayers?
Well, we're investing an additional nearly $5 million in this. That comes on top of nearly an equivalent investment that we've made to date in this program. But again, I'd point out that this is some 23,000 families who otherwise wouldn't have been connected. We've got places for 7,000 more. And these are often hard to reach people, actually, Laura. It's one of those where we've really worked hard with not only NBN and the retail service providers, but we've engaged a referral agency, which is Anglicare Victoria. I've been down and visited them personally. These are people who thought that they might not be able to provide for their children. They're given this free access, and every one of the testimonials has been that it's been transformative for them. Because of course, it's not only the school students who end up using it, it's the whole family who can benefit from access to government services, telehealth, and so forth. And it is so essential. So this really did start out with an equity measure designed for children. It's benefiting whole families, and I look forward to that 30,000 being reached and that being enjoyed until 2028 now.
Yeah, it would be quite nice for those families. Michelle, when's the election?
What's that, sorry?
When's the election going to be? April, May? A little earlier?
I know it'll be this year, Laura, so your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, you're in the dark too. Okay, Michelle, great to see you. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.
And you, thanks so much.